The Dallas Stars are being fined for holding a practice during holiday break. What does that all entail? Plus, it's one of the best games of the year on New Year's Eve. We'll preview the Buffalo Sabres and play Shooting Star on today's episode of Locked On Stars.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Happy New Year, Stars fans, and a not so happy New Year to the Dallas Stars, who are already getting off to a rough start as they are being fined by the NHL for holding a practice during the holiday break. We'll update you on that situation. We'll preview tonight's New Year's Eve game against the Buffalo Sabres, and we'll play Shooting Star before we get out of here on a Tuesday edition of Locked On Stars. So we begin here with the Stars being fined for a optional practice during the holiday break. And folks, this is the most Dallas Stars thing that could have happened to the Dallas Stars this season, with all the hoopla that has been going on in 2024. This feels like par for the course right now with the way the season has begun to unfold. So we'll give you some of the details of this. And part of this was on head coach Pete DeBoer. So chalk this up as a loss for DeBoer, where he said that the quiet part out loud on a press conference he held on Friday, of course, ahead of the Minnesota Wild game last week. And he told reporters on Friday, "I was at the rink yesterday. We had an optional, and of course, the young guys all show up for the optional like, they're supposed to do." Well, that comment and statement from Pete DeBoer sent the NHL into an investigation. So they launched a full investigation, and according to sources, the Stars fully cooperated with the investigation. This is coming from Emily Kaplan, the senior NHL insider on ESPN. So the Stars fully cooperated with the investigation. In a memo on December 23rd, the NHL reminded teams of the rules, including that teams are not allowed to travel nor offer players ice time during the break. And as DeBoer stated, it was an optional with giant quotations, and most optionals, especially at the NHL level, means young players have to be there, which is not a huge surprise with the way the Stars have been playing recently. It's been very inconsistent and a lot of ups and downs. So when you're holding an optional practice, it really means you should be there if you're able to make it. And that's what the league is trying to get away from. I know Ray Ferraro on ESPN a few days ago during the Stars Blackhawks game mentioned that they used to practice back like in the 80s on Christmas Eve. And some players and the Players Association eventually went, why are we doing this? There really is no need for this. And they put a roster freeze as well during that little 3-day break. So you can't get traded and all that, because I know there's been rumors that have been thrown out during the holidays, and that sometimes can just ruin an entire whatever little time they have with their family. It can just ruin the 3-day holiday they have to get away from the game, because they're worried about, oh my God, am I going to get moved? Am I going to have to worry about having to find a new place to live and all of that good stuff? So again, this is the most Dallas Stars thing that could happen this season, but the Stars will be fined, and there is some precedent. In 2022, the Maple Leafs were fined $100,000 for having players travel December 26th for a game in St. Louis on December 27th. The Flyers had a similar infraction in 2015. The league sees this as a competitive disadvantage, as teams that play December 27th are expected to travel the morning of the game. The money for such a fine typically goes towards an NHL foundation. So we do not know the amount of the fine or what it's going to be, as the Stars have violated the CBA rules with holding this optional practice. So we will have to see the amounts. But yeah, the Stars are more than likely going to get nabbed for this. And I think the more infuriating part is it obviously didn't work. They still lost to a Kaprizov-less and Joel Erickson-less Minnesota Wild on Friday night. Not that I'm happy that the Stars held an optional practice, but obviously nothing changed. And I think that's sort of the point the CBA is almost making is it doesn't matter. Okay. This one practice, if you hold optional, really isn't going to change the outcome. And yeah, teams that travel on that day usually get pumped. That's sort of the history behind this, which stinks. I think for the teams that do have to travel the morning of, but there you go. So the Dallas Stars are being fined, which is the most Dallas Stars thing that could happen to them in 2024. Hopefully they will leave this behind and they'll be much better off in the new year. But figured we would discuss it since it's become quite a story here over the weekend. And here it is. I just see now. It just rolled in as I'm recording this on a Monday evening. The Stars have been fined $100,000 for violating the collective bargaining agreement. This is from the X account, NHL Public Relations. So the National Hockey League, I'll read you the whole thing in its entirety. We're going to be extreme lawyers today on Locked On Stars. I'm not going to get anything wrong. New York, December 30th, 2024. The National Hockey League announced today that it has fined the Dallas Stars organization $100,000 for the team's practice on December 24th, 2024. This team activity was in violation of Article 16.5B of the collective bargaining agreement between the NHL and the NHL Players Association. The fine money goes to the NHL Foundation. So there you go. Short and sweet, a press release from the NHL. The Stars have been fined $100,000. Well, chalk it up to another list of disappointments we can have about the Dallas Stars here this season. But okay. Yeah, I really don't know what else to say about it other than they got fined. Yeah. Is it stupid? Absolutely. Is it avoidable? Absolutely. So maybe we can pin it on the coaching staff. Again, it's just, anyways, that's it's just so par for the course, Stars fans. So par for the course. Alrighty. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, though, because it's New Year's Eve, and these games are usually always a blast. Stars usually play well in them. They're coming off a nice momentum win, hopefully, over the Blackhawks, 5-1. A team in Buffalo, one of the worst in the league, but they have won their last 3. So fireworks, I'm sure, are going to explode tonight at the American Airlines Center. Let's preview the Sabres in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Rocket Money. How many subscriptions do you have, Stars fans? Do you even know off the top of your head? Because you have to pay 5 different subscriptions sometimes to watch all of your shows. And then you have to pay for another streaming device because the show you love is only on that. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about? Because they can. A few subscriptions you didn't even realize you were paying for. Rocket Money can make it so easy to track them down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. We've all been there where you forget you've been paying for the subscription every month and it's $15. That's a big chunk of change. Maybe you don't even use it anymore. Get Rocket Money to help you with that. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. New Year's Eve in Dallas at the American Airlines Center is always a glorious occasion. I've been to a few New Year's Eve games back in the day. One that really sticks out to me was against the Boston Bruins, and I want to say Dallas won 6-2 or something. I remember that game being absolute shellacking and was such a fantastic atmosphere. It usually is on New Year's Eve. I was downtown a few years ago, did not go to the game, but watched the game outside of the AAC, and it's always an absolute blast. So I am looking forward to this one tonight against the Buffalo Sabres. And if you have not caught yesterday's episode, I jumped on sarcastic remarks following the Stars' win over the Blackhawks on Sunday, and we just discussed everything really that has gone on with the Dallas Stars this season, including the game on Sunday night. Be sure to check that out on yesterday's edition of Locked On Stars. After you get done with this, we went for about an hour, and I think it was lethargic for both of us because Ryan was telling me how on Friday after the loss to Minnesota, how just beat down he was and exhausted. And I think a lot of Stars fans could certainly relate to that feeling, and even myself. So we had such a fun time going back and forth. So be sure to check that out. But anyways, Stars versus Sabres here this evening on New Year's Eve. Sabres, they're 3-6-1 in their last 10, but they have won 3 straight. The first meeting in Buffalo, the Stars lost 4-2. If you remember that game, Stars had a bit of a late charge. I want to say they had 2 extra attacker goals to make it 3-2 at one point before Buffalo added the extra the empty net goal. It was a game where the power play fell through. This was early on in the season, but Dallas was 0 for 3, and it was one of those contests where the power play could have really made a difference. But they beat the Islanders, Chicago, and St. Louis in their last 3. You look at their 7 losses, if you combine the shootout, like they played good teams. Detroit's decent, Montreal not, but New York, Washington, Toronto twice, in Boston. They've played some of the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference recently, and now they've beat a struggling Islanders team and Chicago and St. Louis. And St. Louis isn't a slouch by any means, but the Sabres are 14-9-4. Okay, they're 29th in the NHL. Not that this means a damn thing to the Dallas Stars, who just need to win games against whoever at this point to try to build off some momentum they hopefully picked up on Saturday. And I made this point with Ryan that nothing has come easy for the Dallas Stars this season. Everything feels like a chore, whether it's to score, whether it's to finish, to make plays, to get out of their own zone, to score on the power play. Everything feels like an absolute chore. And Dallas was 1 for 7 on the power play the other night. And yes, it's bad, but they did score, and that's a positive sign. Yeah, would you have liked to gotten more than one on a 5-minute power play? Absolutely. But they scored, and hopefully we can just hold on to that for as long as possible, and it builds something and builds confidence with whether it's Robo or Rope or whoever. But the thing about the power play goal the Stars did score, and this is becoming a regular occurrence on the Man Advantage especially, Dallas had to make 2 to 3 really, really A-plus passes for Robo to even get the shot away. And even he had to make a nice individual play to score, where Miro and Ben and Robo are tasked with making 2-3 passes through sticks and bodies and pressure to even get that shot away. And it was really pretty, but how many times does that pass go off a skate, go off a stick, and it's out to neutral, and they're having to regroup again and having to reset? That's where a lot of the problems have arose for Dallas. They have to make perfect plays to just even get an opportunity away. And sometimes more than often, it's from outside the circles. It's Robo trying to beat a netminder one-on-one with really not a screen in front. They have to move the puck with more simplicity and try to work below the dots a bit more. You saw the way Chicago was defending them on the peak. They press up. Like Miro has no room and Robo have no space to make plays. And when they did get looks on the power play, it's having to make these are above average like A+ passes through pressure to try to even get a look away. And a lot of the times it fizzles because all it takes is one bounce here, one deflection, one ricochet, and the opportunity and the chance blows up. But they scored. And you would have liked to have more, but it was enough. And look, I thought the game was a lot closer than the score showed, right? 5-on-5. I thought, in the first period, I was like, okay, here we go again. Chicago scores on their first power play. Dallas is awful. And, it was going to be a long night. Well, Dallas got better and they were aided by the power plays. Let's not be foolish here. They were aided by all the power play time, and they got some guys off the skid, right? Duchesne needed a goal and a couple points. That was big. Dodonov's been a real nice piece recently. Maybe they found something with Duchesne, Ben, and Johnston. That looks like a line that could succeed without Marchment, who is probably going to be out for about a month, I would suspect. I know they have him as week to week. It's probably month to month, just based off what we kind of know. Maybe that line will be all right with Ben and Johnston. Who would have thought Dodonov may be an answer for Rope and Robo? Dodonov's had such a good season. He's got 9 goals now this year. He's had a nice start, and I know people were calling for him to be gone. He's got 10. I mean, he's got double digits in goals this season. He's one of 4 stars. That's a double digits. He's been providing some goals lately for a team that has really struggled to score. So hopefully they can sort of weather the next month with the injuries they're dealing with. I mean, Marchment, that's a huge blow. He's had such a good season. It's a huge blow. And they're going to have others step up, and it has to be the Johnsons of the world. We keep coming back to that, but look, it really is the answer. Like, some of the superstars have to be the star superstars, but you get a Sabres team that's cooking here a bit recently. Dahlin's been on fire. He's got 7 points in his last 5 games. Alex Tuch has 3 goals in the last 5. They get below average goaltending, but Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is having a decent season. 11-11-3, 898 save percentage, 2.95 goals against. Levi and Reimer are the other 2 they've been going to, and Reimer's just had a cup of coffee here this season. Hasn't been necessarily great. Their power plays about middle of the pack at 16%. Stars is the same. It's 15.4. It's garbage, especially at home. It's below 10% now at home. The penalty kill has been brilliant. Can't say enough about that. I don't know why they can't figure out the other side of special teams. And again, we come back to, and yes, it's the Blackhawks, ladies and gentlemen. It was the Blackhawks. But as I said, nothing has come easy for the Dallas Stars. And I was so unfazed by the win. I feel like you can't even get excited. And this sort of takes me back to last week on Monday where they beat Utah, and I saw a flip of the switch, and I was like, oh, okay, here we go. They're going to turn it around. And then Friday night happens against the Wild. It's 1 step forward and 2 steps back. This team is Stars fans, this team is so far off where they need to be. I do not want to sell false hope anymore. This team is so far off where they need to be, and it falls on Pete DeBoer. It falls on him, and it falls on Steve Spott. They have to find solutions. Every team has injuries. Every team is dealing with rough patches. It has to change, and a lot of it, I feel like, falls on Pete DeBoer. You have to earn your paycheck. It's not all flying colors and rainbows right now. You don't have your full complement of players. Boo-hoo. Figure it out. Find a way. find a way to win hockey games, because it's not just like, it's not even an issue trying to beat the good teams. Like, you're struggling to beat bad teams, struggling to be bad at home. Like, at home, there has to be a solution, and maybe there isn't, but it doesn't help doing the same thing. And we've seen a lot of the same. And I'll give him credit for throwing the lines in the blender the other night, mainly because he has to. If Marchand was in, I don't think he changes up that much. The power play, anything different. Because 1 for 7 is not it. It's okay because you've been absolutely garbage. It's okay. But the philosophy has to change. And I've said it. I've said it the last 3 months. I'm honestly so tired of talking about it, but it's hard not to when you've lost game after game because your power play can't help you out. If the Stars were average, they'd have 4 or 5. In that. Excuse me. Sorry, I think the mic unplugged a little bit. I think I'm back. But as I was saying, Stars would have 5-6 more wins. The power play was average. I mean, just average. Because it's been horrible. Horrible. I can't say it enough. So here we go. Again tonight, against the Sabres. Player to watch as always for them. And it's Tage Thompson. He's fun. A lot of people were surprised he was left off USA for the Four Nations. He's got 18 goals this season in 32 games. He's fun, and he can absolutely rip it. He has a weapons grade wrist shot. We all know about Dahlin, and he's a spectacular talent, fun to watch too. They have such good young players. Who knows when they're going to put it together? It seems like the last 5 years, Buffalo should be much closer to competing in the East, and it just hasn't happened. They, of course, went back to Lindy Ruff, and it's really been another disappointing start for Buffalo this season. So I'm looking forward to tonight, though. I hope Dallas can blow the ever-living brakes off of the Sabres. They need it. They desperately need it. 5 goals was big yesterday. Like, it are big on Sunday. It felt massive scoring 5. It felt massive. And, Chicago had nothing after, once Dallas scored 10 seconds into the period, that was pretty much it for the game. And it was kind of garbage time at that point, but it was good for Dallas to extend a lead and add some insurance. We saw Jamie Benn. I thought he had a good night. He looked good. Hopefully that continues here. And maybe that will be my shooting star pick, the captain. Maybe that's a bit of an early tease for you, as it is now time to get in to our shooting star for Tuesday, December 31st, your New Year's Eve pick. Let me know, Stars fans. We'll do that in just a moment. Okay, we are back with a shooting star on this New Year's Eve. Always a good time at the AAC. Stars and Sabres taking place 7 o'clock. Catch the game on Victory Plus if you're not going to be there. By the way, be safe if you're going out tonight. I know all you crazies out there. Take the dart. I think it's free. I want to say that the dart's usually free on New Year's Eve. So no reason to drink and drive, Stars fans. Take the dart out to the station. Take the dart home. And get home safe. Just want to preface that. But it is a Tuesday, so maybe some will take it a little less crazy. But you never know. Hey, I've had my fair share of nights on the weekdays back in the day. I will admit. But yes, be careful out there. Be safe and enjoy a Happy New Year. I think it's really overrated, I'll be honest. Not my favorite holiday. But I digress. It's time for shooting star. And I'm going with the captain, okay? Jamie Benn. I'm going 3 assists the other night, a goal and 2 assists. I think Jamie Benn going to step up here over the next 2 or 3 weeks. He was really engaged the other night. And when Jamie Benn plays that way, he's dangerous. Sort of playoff Jamie Benn-like. So I'm going with the captain. I haven't picked him all season long. I'd like number 14 to get the job done. He's going to be my shooting star for this New Year's Eve tilt against the Sabres. Please let me know yours in the comments and vote via the YouTube community tab. As always, appreciate your cooperation and participation with that. We usually get over almost close to 200 every time we post it. So I love that. It makes it a good time as we track it all season long. We're going to see how we fare at the end of the year. But that'll do it for a Tuesday edition of Locked On Stars. Latvia. Oh, wow. I've been pretty locked in on the World Juniors a bit. Latvia looks like they're going to steal a game against Germany. Come from behind victory for Latvia. They upset Canada the other day in a shootout. And it looks like they're now going to squeak out a win over Germany. So how about that? Latvia came to play. U.S. lost to Finland the other day. But I think U.S. is still in a good spot. But yeah, some crazy upsets going on at the World Juniors. Wow, Kazakhstan had two. I'm just now seeing this roll through. Kazakhstan had 2 shorthanded goals to force it to overtime. Crazy stuff. WJC is always fantastic stuff. But Slovakia held on, so they won it. Anyways, just wanted to give a quick update on that because World Juniors is always good stuff, always great competition. Anyways, that'll do it for a Tuesday edition. Happy New Year. Enjoy it. Enjoy the game tonight. And sorry for all these out there, but I'll see you next year.